when you look at this Ebola thing, one parallel that I see, well, I'll come to that in a minute. There has been some talk about the fella in Emory Hospital down in Atlanta having some sort of successful treatment. And far as I knew, Ebola was a virus that was something that couldn't be treated, and most folks either fought it off. Well, most folks either died, or that 10 to 20% fought it off and survived. And what it reminds me of, strangely enough, is the HIV virus that allegedly causes AIDS. And so I want to introduce how there may or may not be, how it may or may not be a connection between HIV and the Ebola virus. Do you see any parallels, or am I tripping?
No, I see some great questions. Whenever there's always seems to be a divide and conquer mentality when it comes to man-made weapons, bioweapons. And if you look at the AIDS and the HIV, what community did they say that this was rampant in?
The homosexual community.
It was in the homosexual, the gay community,
right,
correct?
Right.
Okay, now.
Absolutely.
There has been talk that there is no such thing as AIDS. I'm sorry, as HIV. But AIDS comes about from the treatment of HIV, because HIV is the virus, and AIDS is the syndrome that you acquire from having the virus. HIV is the human immune deficiency virus, and acquired immune deficiency syndrome is AIDS. So once again, it's a target, just like SARS, just like Ebola. Even though Ebola, you can actually be Asiatic. You can actually be of Anglo descent. You can be white or whatever and catch Ebola. But if you look where these diseases are commonly found,
right?
It shouldn't only be commonly found in Africa, because there are birds and there are monkeys in Brazil, in the Amazon. These same, even though their environment is different, but when you really start to look at it, this is selective targeting with these bioweapons.
Is there some sort of, in your opinion, is there some sort of population control methods going on here, or again, am I being a conspiracy theorist?
Without a doubt. Now, let me tell you how that plays into everything here with the population control. Every so often, you have each major war, World War I, World War II, in vaccinations. Let's take Mr. Gates for an example. Bill Gates has said on numerous occasions, not once, not twice, but many times, has said that they use vaccination for population control. Vaccination for population control. Well, where is Mr. Gates? A lot of his donations. Where are his works? Predominantly in Africa,
right?
In places of large populations that have always been targeted. Why have they always targeted Africa? Could it be because of the natural resources that Africa has? And if you have the people poor and sick and ill and famine running through the land, would they not be more apt and willing to cut a devil's deal with you, so that they can survive?
Because they're desperate, yeah.
They're desperate. Sure. The best way to steal a man's money is to make him hungry, and he'll surrender it.
Right.
He'll surrender it because he has to. So I think there is definitely a correlation between the AIDS and population control, because Bill Gates says it himself: vaccination through, population control through vaccination. So now with this Ebola, once this secret serum that they just gave this one second, I'm gonna just make this one point. With this so-called secret serum that they gave this the one doctor that they just brought back here to Atlanta. So now all of a sudden they're going to create this Ebola outbreak, and then what are they going to do? Start trying to vaccinate people with everything. What are in these vaccinations? Do they ever give ingredients listing or content? They never do. They never do, and it's for a very designed reason. If their purpose was sincere, you would know everything, and they wouldn't treat it. It would be cured. That's the big difference here.
So, Dave, let me ask you this, because based on what you just said, led me to another question that I had with my brother K-Dub, who is my oldest friend, who I've had a conversation with about this earlier today. In the interest of full disclosure, you and I talked about this earlier today when we prepped about the show. When we talked about HIV, we talked about AIDS. Most of us remember where we were on November 7th, 1991. I was in Jersey City, New Jersey. I was at my mother and father's house. I was a 17-year-old kid. And I remember when Irvin Magic Johnson, at 32 years old, said that he had to retire from the Los Angeles Lakers because he had HIV. And we all, at that very, very moment, I'm sure I can't speak for you, but I feel comfortable speaking for you and saying we all thought Magic was going to die. I know I did. I thought Magic was going to die. And here we are. This November 7th will make 23 years since that day. And not only did Magic not die, but Magic looks more healthy than most 50-something brothers that we know. So my question to you is this. If that brother had HIV like they said he had, do you think he got treatment, or do you think, just I'm asking your opinion, do you think he got treatment, or do you think that it was a bunch of crap that he even had HIV to begin with? And it's just your opinion.
In my opinion, I think that there was a deal that was cut because they had something on Magic. Just my opinion. And this is the deal. You're going to go along with this, or they told him, and he a second opinion from a neutral party. Because if your doctor tells you, Marcus, that you have such and such, and you go to another doctor and they tell you have such and such, what are you going to believe? You have it.
Right.
So Magic could have been told he had it, and he's never displayed any symptoms at all.
Not publicly.
At
least not publicly. Protocol. At least not publicly. No, you're right.
No, not publicly. He hasn't. And that could be because of great wealth and everything else. But when at the time that Magic had it, they were so far. So they said they were so far behind that people were dying in droves from it. They hadn't even started the walks for it yet. It was so bad. So, I agree with you that I don't think that Magic ever had it. But could he have and got treated for it and actually got the cure for it? Well, there is a cure for AIDS that's out. The patent is out also. You can actually look up the AIDS patent, the AIDS cure patent, and there's going to be something instrumental that you're going to see there. You're going to see silver.
Right.
Once again, what we talked about earlier.
Right.
Silver is the greatest disinfectant that man has ever known. The most important element because of that.
How much?
No virus or bacteria can survive silver.
Here's another thing that you and I talked about when we talked earlier that I think is I think that it is so disrespectful, and I think that anybody who sits around and just believes what they see without doing any research, I think you are a part of the problem, and you're the reason why they're able to kind of push this kind of stuff amongst the masses. That's the first thing. But when they sit around and they tell you, Dave, that Ebola or HIV or whatever it is was spread by animals, not just an animal. It's one thing if you said a pig. A pig people eat. You ain't supposed to eat it. It's nasty. Don't eat a pig, people. But if you eat a pig, hey, do what you do. But we talking about a monkey, Dave. How many people you know eat a monkey? I don't know nobody that eats monkeys. And so if you're talking about regular people who live in metropolitan areas who are getting diseases that originated from monkeys. That just sounds a little bit out there to me that intelligent people believe that. What can you say to that? Am I, again, I'm gonna ask you because sometimes I'm tripping. My audience sometimes tells me that I be tripping. I need you to tell me if you agree with them or if you disagree with them. Am I tripping or what?
No, you're not tripping at all. Let's go to you brought up the pig, and I'm glad you brought up the pig. Let me give you some information maybe that you may not know or your audience may not know. The pig, have you ever wondered why if someone has a third-degree burn all over their body, what is the skin graft that they use for them? It's a pig skin.
Right.
If someone has a heart valve that needs they need a heart valve, what will they use? And they will use a pig. They'll use a pig's organs for some of the organs that we need. Why is that? Because our body will not reject the pig's organ.
Right.
And you know why that is? Because the pig, you heard of the old term, pig face and everything else. And have you ever looked at a pig? Really looked at a pig? You can actually see some people that you've seen before in your life, and you can say, this person looks just like this pig right here.
Right.
Right? Why is that? Because the pig is a hybrid of man.
Wow.
If you look at what's the symbol, that's why the body will never reject parts of the pig, because it's so closely related. Now, what's the symbol of the doctors? The with the snakes, the two intertwining snakes.
Right.
Well, why are they snakes? Why are they snakes? Because they're venomous. Because they're venomous, and they're actually forming the DNA structure. If you look at it, it looks just like DNA. Because what man has done with medicine is to try to manipulate DNA. And that's part of the pig thing.
Wow.
So now, when you don't allow yourself, or you surrender your will to the corporate fascist entanglement, because you can profit from it. They pay your salary. They allow you to have the quality of life that you have. So you'll turn away from the things that you should know. They will tell you everything that they're going to do before they do it. They will show you, but we don't look. They will tell you, but we don't listen. Then when they do it, we ignore it. Christine Lagarde of the IMF came out with earlier this year, and she came out with a bunch of numerology saying about the number 7, how things are a bunch of things. I would suggest anyone look up IMF occultic video. IMF stands for the International Monetary Fund. And the person that's in charge of the IMF now is Christine Lagarde. And she's going to come in with all this numerology.
Right.
And she's going to tell you exactly what they're planning to do to you through numerology. And you're going to sit back and your mouth is going to drop. Because we watch too much TV. We go to the movies too much. We don't study history. We don't read books. If you notice, they're taking all the books off of the shelves. They want to take it all digital, and we think that is technology. No, what they're doing is taking away your ability to inform and to educate yourself.
Not only that, Dave, just to speak to that point, if you take it and you transfer all of these books, in the process of the transfer, you can make whatever adjustments and changes you need, whereas a book is a hard copy. It's something that you can hold in your hands. You can look at the tatted pages and the yellow pages and the handwritten pages inside the inside the book, and you can see where your ancestors made notes and all of that kind of stuff. It's a book, as opposed to a soft copy on your computer where someone obviously has typed, and they can type whatever they want. So don't get it twisted, people. If you see it on the internet, somebody typed it in. At some point, somebody typed it in.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It is
taken down.
Yeah.
And it's taken down. The quote that I read from the Who, from the director of Who, Margaret Chan, that story is now taken down because she said air travel.
Yep.
So they made them take it down. It can be why did our ancestors write everything in stone? Not because they didn't have the technology. They had more technology than we had. But what is it about stone? What is it about stone? It will survive the test of time.
No matter what.
These books, no matter what, these books won't. These books won't. They have a shelf life.
Right.
So, no, I don't think that you're... And the bad thing is because we surrender ourselves to their agenda. A real sellout is this, brother. When you compromise your morality for someone else's agenda. We compromise and we sell ourselves out to the corporate agenda, and we fall into a tonic state, which means that you're paralyzed, basically, and they can do with you whatever you want because you're in a zombified state. And that's what we get. That's why we allow everything to happen where we can have World War I and World War II, and we can say it's us against them, and not even realize that Winston Churchill said that history will be kind to England because England will write it.
Right.
You have to look at who's writing what, and then you have to vet them and vet the information that they're putting out, because a lot of it is basically an occult. A lot of it is. That's what all of these corporations are. They're part of an occult.
I think the problem. I think a big problem with that, Dave, is that people are so used to listening to their oppressors and brainwashers that when someone is giving it to you spiritually and someone is giving it to you organically, you're so used to and so brainwashed to listening to it a certain kind of way that you're untrained to listen to information from a different source. I'll give you a perfect example. I've been watching Hidden Colors. I've seen them, but I've been rewatching them. And yesterday I was watching Hidden Colors too, and I was having a conversation in the past before today about Hidden Colors, and I had somebody telling me, I don't know why you be watching that kind of stuff because who knows where that information is coming from. Well, whereas if you actually watch it and you actually do research for a lot of the things that you see on there, you'll find that the information that you see is well sourced. And so why would it be that you immediately discount what you see in something like Hidden Colors? The only thing that I could come up with, and this is just me, humbly me, Marcus J, is that the information that's coming from something like Hidden Colors is coming from the perspective of black supremacy as opposed to white supremacy. And I think a lot of black people, unfortunately, have a problem with black supremacy because they're so brainwashed and so trained to seeing things from a Eurocentric type of perspective. I'm not one that's going to denigrate or be disrespectful to anybody's perspective. However, I am one that's going to be a champion for supporting your own and supporting your own perspective. And if you're somebody who refuses to do that, I'm looking at you like, what the hell is wrong with you? I got a problem with you if you're not trying to see from your perspective, because that's what they do. That's what they do.
Right. Right.
So
they perpetuate that.
Go ahead, Dave.
No, and it's so funny, how I generally categorize it is, and how I look at it is this way, is that if you take any other animal, any wild animal, and cage it, and the moment you open that cage, that animal is going to run out of that cage and never look back and keep going. If you ever enslave the human mind, and if you ever open that human being will walk out of that cage and sit right down next to that cage and claim that cage as theirs.
Right.
We are mentally enslaved. And we have to have things only a certain way. Our dinner has to be served by master.
Right.
Our agenda has to be written by master.
Right.
And our life has to be coursed by master. And that's the difficult part with everything. That's why everything that's going on is going on. That's why you can have nationalism, where you can have the U.S. versus Russia and everything else. Let me tell you something, everyone. There is no such thing in war where the governments fight each other. The governments are actually attacking the people of the world.
Right.
And because it's 90% of the casualties of war are of the population of the people.
Oh, yeah, they're civilians.
The governments continue. The governments continue. So it's a perpetual agenda. that we fall for.
And that's the reason why oftentimes you do not see the offspring of those decision makers on the front lines of these things happening, because they know what's going down and they're not going to put their own in the middle of what's getting ready to happen. So no one, well, I was going to say no one's a fool. Unfortunately, yes, we are fools as a people, because we don't see the seriousness of what's going on, and we oftentimes will trust the government, while at the same time you might want to be in a cipher with the homies talking trash about it, but you're not really doing anything oftentimes to really make any adjustments to make it so that you and your family and the people close to you can actually have some prosperity.
Right. And your prosperity is lost. You know, let me just say this, Marcus. A lot of people would say that they do this, everything is for a profit, you know, for the almighty dollar and everything. That's not what they're after. They're not after any money. They
Right.
print money.
Right.
I mean, they're not after any cash. They print cash. You use it, they print it, you use it. Money is different. The currency, they print that. What they are after, money is, once again, the method that they use. But let me tell you what their objective really is. It's for you to surrender your will to them. It's the most powerful thing that you have. Not even God himself can go against your will. But if you surrender your will, there's a harmonic energy that goes along with that. And that's what they're really after. It's not about cash. It's not about cream. They already control that. They print it. And if we don't really wake up to what's really going on, nothing will ever change. It will only keep getting worse. And let me tell you, guess who the next slave owners are going to be? It's been that way in the past. Next, it's the yellow man. Then it'll be the Hispanics. Then it'll be the blacks. Because what they have to do is they have to have this perpetual cycle going. Because if you have that perpetual cycle that's built off of hate, you can only hate someone for so long before you start to realize that, wait a minute, something's wrong with this system. That's what they don't want you to see.
I can dig it.
This whole system.
I have Steppin Marcus J. I think oftentimes what people don't do is they don't pay attention to history, the same history that they force feed you when you're 10 and 12 and 15 years old, when you're looking at the Roman Empire and the English Empire and all that kind of stuff. How different is what's going on with the United States' participation in world history today any different than what you read in them history books as a kid? To me, maybe again, I'm just Marcus J., but I see a direct correlation to it. Ain't no half step on Marcus J. Live from the Den, Legacy Internet Radio. We appreciate everybody that's listening to us here tonight. We talked about Ebola. We got into a lot of information. And of course, we went in another direction, which we're definitely glad we did. I want special thank you goes to those folks that are listening to us on YouTube. In our replays. Special thanks to those folks listening to us live on Mixlr, as well as to the new listeners that we know that we have across the country that are listening to us on TuneIn. Dave, any final thoughts, anything going on with you that you want to share with the Legacy Internet Radio listeners, where we can find you? What's going on with you, brother?
Bro, I just want to thank you for having me on, and we're going to have what's called Real Deal Preppers on the Empowerment Radio Network on Sundays from 3 to 5. Starting in 2 weeks, and that's Eastern Standard Time. So you can find us there on the Empowerment Radio Network. And, bro, I really appreciate, love you much, bro. If you ever need anything, just hit me up. And I'm sorry we didn't get to what some of the things that we need to do to protect ourselves from Ebola. But what you can do is we have a group called RDP, which stands for Real Deal Preppers Group, and they can, your listeners, if they would like to join, they can join through you, and you can add them to our group, and all of the information on what you need to do to prepare yourself for what's coming. You see what happened in Toledo with the water. Earlier this year, they had tritium in the water, then they spilled chemicals inside of the water. These are all design plans. They're doing data mining to see how the overall public will react to things. And we must get prepared, because I tell you, you can ignore reality, but you can never ignore the consequences of ignoring reality.
I can dig it, man. As you were saying it, literally, I just went to Real Deal Preppers. I've already been a member of that group here on Facebook, RDP group. I just shared it with my listeners here on my personal page. I'm in the process of sharing it with the folks that are on the Legacy Internet Radio page, as well as the Ain't No Half Steppin' with Marcus J page. Brother, I could sit here and I could talk to you forever, man, because the information that you give us is definitely important. And I want to make a point of saying that this absolutely will not be the last time we have Dave on the show with me tonight. I hope I didn't step out on the ledge and make that proclamation, without your permission. Am I okay in saying what I just said, my brother?
Everything. Yeah, of course you are, bro. I'm here whatever you need. I'm here for you. That's what we have to do. Our people actually need the voice that you have, and the love that you have for them is sincere. So we're definitely here for you, bro. We will support you in everything that you do.
The same to you. If you ever need any assistance, the Empowerment Radio Network, Real Deal Preppers, Sundays, man, you tell me what you need. Marcus J, as well as my entire crew here at Legacy Internet Radio, are right behind you and ready to support you in whatever it is that you do as well, my brother. We love you, man.
Thank you, brother.
All right, man. Be cool. Ain't No Half Steppin' with Marcus J. That's my brother Dave. I appreciate everybody that listened to it. We're going to take our first break of the night. And when we come back, I got my co-host that just slipped into the building. And we're going to jump right into her segment. And we ain't going to tell y'all what it's about. Normally we give y'all a little bit of heads up or some sort of tease or whatever, but you ain't getting it tonight. You just got me teasing it, and my tease is we ain't teasing it. Marcus J. Ain't No Half Steppin' with Marcus J. with my co-host coming up at the top of the hour in the beginning of the next segment. We'll be back in a few minutes.